Hello, boys and girls. Today we're on day 2 of rational expression, and today our objective is to multiply and divide a rational expression. Remember yesterday, what did I say was the most important thing? Factor, factor, factor. Well, guess what's the most important thing again today? Factor, factor, factor. We start by factoring the numerator, and then we factor the denominator of both expressions, and then we cancel. And in this, we can cancel up, down, or diagonally. And then we remember that when we multiply fractions, we multiply numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So that's what we're going to do at the end. Alrighty, so let's just start with this first problem. It's really monomial, so we could simplify this a couple of different ways, but I'm going to go ahead and write it as list all of its factors. Okay? So we can cancel up and down. So this B cancels with that B. Then we also can simplify it diagonally. So this B can cancel with that, and that A can cancel here. So once we've done that, then we just multiply what's left. So I have 2 times A, and nothing's left there except for the 1, so that's 2A. And then what's left here is C, and that's my final answer. The next one is a little bit more complicated, but I will write it out. So I'm going to start by just writing out the numbers, and we have 24 over 8 times S times T over S, 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 T, T, T times 12 over 36. And then that is 3 S's and 2 T's. And that's 3 S's and 2 T's. And remember, we don't have to do this. We could subtract. I'm just trying to give you the way we would do this. So this is 24 divided by 8, so that's 3. And then can my S's cancel? So I have this S cancel here. I have 2 T's cancel. Here I've got 12 divided by 36 is 1/3, and I can cancel these 3 S's, and I wrote that incorrectly. There's only 1 T here, so this T will cancel with that one. Do we have anything else that's left? Yes, this T at the bottom can cancel with that T at the top, so I'm left with 3 over S cubed times 1/3, everything else is gone. And so now this 3 can cancel with that 3, so I'm left with 1 over S cubed. Okay? Now, the ones that we do mostly will not involve multiplying them out like that. The ones that we do will mostly involve factoring. So let's look at this first problem. How can I factor this first expression? Well, we can factor out a GCF between 12 and 18. The GCF is 6. So that leaves me with 2m minus 3. And that should be, oh no, that's again. Okay, and that's going to be over 18n. And then I have 9n squared over, what's the GCF between 8 and 12 is 4. So I'm left with 2m minus 3. And is there anything that cancels? Well, we see that 2m minus 3. Now, in order to cancel it, all of it has to be in the parentheses. And then this n will cancel with that n. And I'm just going to write what's left. We'll have 6. Oh, that's too big of a number. I don't want to do that. I can also do some dividing. 6 is 2 times 3. 4 is 2 times 2. 9 is 3 times 3. And 18 is 3 times 3 times 2. So I can now cancel out some of these numbers. Let me get a different color here. This 2 will cancel with that 2. These 2 3's cancel with that 3. And what am I left with? Actually, I canceled that 2. What am I left with? I'm left with 3n over 2. Okay? Let's just do another example. There's a lot of factoring involved. So I'm going to factor out the GCF here, which is A. So I'm left with 2A plus 1. And this is the difference of two squares. So I can factor that as 2A plus 1, 2A minus 1. And this has a GCF of 3. Sorry, I did that wrong. That should be 3 times 2A minus 1. And this is 4A. So let's see what we can factor out here. I see that I have, that's a god-awful color, that's god-awful green. All right, I have 2A plus 1. I have 2A minus 1. I have an A. So I'm really just left with 3 over 4. Okay? So it's basically just factoring and then cancel what's left. So let's do another one. Factor in the top, I get x plus 1, x minus 1. Factor in the bottom here, I can factor out a GCF, so I factor out a 2 and I get x minus 3. At the top, I can factor the difference of two squares, so that's x plus 3, x minus 3. Factoring is really important. If you're struggling with factoring, I would really suggest that you practice that before we move on. I factored out a GCF from the bottom, and then I just mark off what they have in common. Remember, I can cancel diagonally. Okay? And there's nothing else that cancels, so then how do I write this? I multiplied, so I do x plus 1 times x plus 3, and then 2 times 3 is 6. And that's the simplified version. Okay, I'll come back to that one. Let me see if there's another one I want to do. Let's do this last one. We have to factor this. In order to factor this, we have to use the AC method. So I have to do 2c squared times negative 3 is negative 6c squared. And then what two numbers can I multiply to get negative 6 and add to get 5? That would be 6 and 1, with the 6 being negative. So this is 2c squared minus 6c plus 1c minus 3. And then we'd factor that by grouping. What's the GCF here? Is 2c, and I'm left with c minus 3. And the only thing I can factor out there is a 1, so I'm left with c minus 3. So factoring that, I get 2c plus 1, c minus 3, over c plus d. And then I factor the top here, that's the difference of two squares, so I have c plus d, c minus d, and then 2c plus 1, there's nothing I can do with that. And then we just cancel. So what can we get rid of here? We can get rid of 2c plus 1. And this, because I have to cancel that entire quantity. And then c plus d. And then so I'm left with c minus 3 times c minus d. And there's no denominator. All right, what I'd like for you to do is the 3 problems that are left. So if you would pause the video for a second and come back when you're done. All righty, welcome back. Let's go ahead and do these quickly. I'm going to do very little explanation here. So I get k plus 2 is the difference of two squares. K plus 2. So I get k plus 2 times k plus 2 over, the GCF here is k, so this is 8k plus 3 times, the GCF here is 2, so this is 2 times 8k plus 3 over k minus 2. There's nothing I can do with that. except for I factored this one wrong. This one should be k plus 2, k minus 2. Alrighty, what factors out? Boom, k minus 2, ak plus 3. And so what am I left with? K plus 2 over k. That's my final answer. Here, I have to, again, factor, so I have 5 minus c, 5 plus c, over 12 times 4 over 5 minus c. And once again, the 5 minus c cancels. And I am left with 4 over 12, 5 plus c. But 4 over 12 can also simplify to 1/3 because 4 goes into both of those. And for the numerical ones, you could do those on your calculator. And this last one, well, I already see x, y cancel, so I don't have to do anything with that. And then I have x over x minus y, because that's the GCF. And then I have 3 over x minus y, because I factored out GCF of 3. My x minus y cancels, and I'm left with x over 3. Okay, that is multiplying multiplying rational expressions.